They go together like peanut butter and bananas.
Oh, banana.
Legs and feet. A debilitating existential crisis.
Diminished sense of reality, huh?
And reruns of The Office at 3 a.m.
Depression? Isn't that just a fancy word for feeling bummed out?
It's the Bit Harmony Boys, bringing you even more video game music than you can shake a Deku stick at. Right now.
You're listening to Bit Harmony, a video game music podcast, and I'm Matt.
And I'm Seth.
That was pretty cool. That was very, reminds me of when, it's got that Christian Bale Batman voice thing, but then,
I'm Batman.
You know, when they did the English dub of Howl's Moving Castle, and then Christian Bale is playing Howl.
Yeah.
And then when he turns into like the bird monster, he just does the Batman voice again. That's just straight up. That's what it reminded me of, though. I guess Abed in Community doing his impersonation of the...
Yeah, that's more accurate to me, probably, yeah.
Today, we're doing just a grab bag of stuff. It's mostly soundtracks that we missed from 2025. Things we were maybe aware of at the time, but hadn't played. I guess that's kind of mostly what it is.
Yeah.
Though we've also got a little bit of early 2026 stuff in here. There's just been so much going on, and it still feels like we're playing catch up. And also the games we have on slate to talk about today, I feel like none of these would quite pass the mark of like a full episode, so we can just cram them all in here and do one of these. I'm excited to talk about all of these games. Like, I genuinely really like all of them and really like all their soundtracks. But yeah, this just seemed like the best place to put it.
Yep. And really too, it's a good kind of like, I'm assuming we'll talk about it a little bit later, but it's a good like stopgap for us between now and like kind of rolling into properly a bunch of the stuff that we have planned for the future. So it's kind of a nice little appetizer for us.
Yeah. We got a bunch of stuff coming up. If you think we're cheaping out on you with these grab bag episodes, just you wait, baby. We got some cool stuff coming. Anyway, our intro this episode is Lollipop from Sektori, and Sektori was composed by Tommy Bainin. So once again, that's Lollipop from Sektori, and we will be right back. that was Lollipop. And I haven't said the word lollipop probably since I was like 8 years old. It's a pretty fun word.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably pretty rare that I have occasion to talk about a lollipop unless I'm talking about like the game Lollipop Chainsaw or something. That's probably about it. And even then, I don't talk about that game like that much. But
I would hope not. That came out like 15 years ago. Though it did just get remastered or whatever, didn't it? Like recently.
I heard it wasn't good. I heard the remaster wasn't good. And I think like, so what happened was EA, I think it was EA, had the license for that. And I think they sold it to some other company that remastered it. And I think the head of that company is like a weird like AI bro. And yeah, the remaster from what I heard is not very good, so it's all good.
It's weird that the head of a company and he's a weird AI tech bro really wanted to remaster Lollipop Chainsaw. I find that in and of itself very weird and interesting, but maybe it was just they were looking for any kind of IP they could snatch up and whatever, I don't know. But anyway, Lollipop from Sektori, that is very different from Lollipop Chainsaw. I guess it kind of has some kind of like visceral over the top similarity here. Hey, I've played like 20 hours of Sektori in the past week. This game is amazing. It is basically the full-on successor to the original Geometry Wars, or I should say Retro Evolved, not the original that's like inside Project Gotham Racing or whatever. That's not to disparage like Geometry Wars 2 or 3. I actually quite liked 3. I played a lot of that on my Vita. It was I liked the concept of like you're on like different shapes and like the stage changes based around those shapes. Like the other Geometry Wars games are not bad, but they never hit the same way again, you know? Sektori does. Sektori straight up is like, oh, yeah, it's like we went from the original Xbox Live Arcade Geometry Wars to Sektori. Lollipop specifically is basically like the final level song kind of Sektori. Okay. It's kind of like the final push to get to the final boss at the end of a campaign run, basically. This is probably my favorite song in Sektori. I mean, the whole soundtrack is very similar, not necessarily tone. Like this song is way more light and hopeful kind of than the rest of the soundtrack, probably because you know you're coming up on the end, you're in sight of the end of the tunnel kind of thing. But that's also kind of what makes it interesting to me, and the difference between listening to the song outside of the game versus playing the game and hearing the soundtrack. Despite the fact that this is like a more uplifting song than the rest of the soundtrack, it's also like terrifying, especially when you're on like a world-class run and then you get to this part of the soundtrack, because the game gets really hard at this point also. So even though it's kind of got this triumphant feel, you are also dealing with the fact that, oh yeah, I'm on a pace to beat my high score, but I also only have one shield left and I might die here. So it kind of brings in everything into this just very like 2004 techno song.
Yeah, I mean that sounds cool. I liked this a lot. This was actually my first time hearing any of Sektori's music, because like I just can't. I simply can't make space for Sektori right now. Like I know that I would love the game, and I've been seeing like you and Colin like and Boogs like trading, you know, scores back and forth and stuff like this, and I'm like, dude, like I know that I would be a sicko with this thing. And I just like, I'm playing so much Animal Crossing right now. I'm trying to finish up like Escape from Ever After and Big Hops and stuff before Romeo's a Dead Man comes out next week. And then like at the time we're recording this, we're waiting on like a partnership. There's too much going on. And I cannot be also awake at like 3 a.m. getting a high score chase in Sektori, you know, like I just can't. Now that doesn't mean that I won't ever, but I feel like by the time I finally get around to it, the interest in our friend group will have kind of waned, but that's fine. I will play it someday because I know it will be right up my alley. And yeah, I mean, this song was immediately very Geometry Wars. Like, I think I would have picked up on that even if I didn't know what Sektori was, because it has that kind of, Geometry Wars, especially that first one, like that song is so like burned into my memory, just like do 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 do, like it just, I can hear it in my sleep. And this has that same quality, like that bumping kind of like trance rhythm that you're zoned out, bleary-eyed at 3 a.m. Like listening to this sort of thing. I think that this kind of song is actually pretty important for a game like this, because I think you want to hit that cross section of like the balance of brainlessly kind of bopping your head, zoning out, chasing a high score, but also kind of recoiling in fear from like associative memory, So I think this kind of strikes that balance well.
Yeah, I do too. That's, again, the whole soundtrack is like of this quality, and there are some other ones that are like just as catchy or whatever. But yeah, I just wanted to pick my favorite one, since we're only playing one song from this anyway. And yeah, like I said, I think as cool as this song is, I think it works, way better when you're fully sucked in playing Sektori. A thing I noticed, I don't know if this is an aging thing or if it's Sektori specifically, this game makes my eyes stream. Like I have tears coming down my face. I don't know if I'm just not blinking enough. It's like I've never had that before, and it's like every time I play, my wife is not happy about the amount of Sektori being played and the amount of yelling going on. It was all it was all worth it. It's all worth it for the high scores. I know you're listening, Boogs. You're not going to beat that 7.9 million I posted this morning.
Sounds so intoxicating to me, though. Like, that sounds like exactly the kind of thing that I want to do, but I know that I will become obsessive over it if I start. I'm like scared of it,
Yeah. I get it, because like there's other games I wanted to be playing in the last week too, but then like when I wake up early in the morning and my wife is still asleep, I'm like, okay, I could do something else, or I could play like an hour of Sektori kind of thing. And yeah, I wasn't planning on getting this anytime soon either, but Wilkins insisted, and he sent me money. He's like, you just buy this for yourself. I insist that you play this. And yeah, this is like the most me game ever. I can't speak highly enough about it. Yeah, I don't know. There's a part of me that wanted to do a mini on it, but then I'm like, nah, it's pointless if Seth hasn't played. So yeah, let's just cram it in here. But yeah, I don't have too much to say about the song. It's just a very good one of these. It is like the perfect music accompaniment to when you're just like a piece of sentient meat reacting to colors on screen, and the music is pulsing through you and everything like that. That's all I want out of a soundtrack to a game like this. And yeah, that's what the whole soundtrack is.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll play it someday. What's nice about being friends with you, though, is that if that did happen, if I pick Sektori back up in like a year or something like that, I know you well enough to know that you would actually relish in the opportunity to go back to Sektori yourself. So I feel like I would always have a challenger, even if I pick it up later.
I also thought like, oh yeah, this would be perfect for Switch too. But I will say with the effect it has on my eyes, apparently, that I find it hard to imagine playing it in handheld. So I guess playing it on Switch 2 isn't really beneficial in this case, at least to me. But maybe other people with better eyes or better whatever wouldn't have that issue. But I don't really want to play this in handheld, to be honest.
If it comes to Switch 2, I don't think I'll be able to resist. That I think would be the that would be where the rubber meets the road for me, I think.
Yeah, you would love it. I mean, yeah, there's not too much else to say about it. It is basically Geometry Wars with like customization options, a bunch of different modes, a lot of really cool like side modes that have multiple ships that have very different characteristics. I don't want to get into. I could talk about Sektori for like an hour, but I guess we should move on from it. But Sektori is fantastic. Definitively, it would have been on my like top 10 of the year list if I'd played it last year. Yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess with that being said, we should probably just get into this general housekeeping stuff and get this ball rolling, huh?
Yeah, we actually have like multiple like bigger things to get into this time
Yeah.
for once. So yeah, real quick, we did have a mini episode for the Patreon feed, Patreon exclusive during the break that was on non-video game music or real ass music, whatever you want to call it. Non-VGM sound picks, I think we called it.
Sound selects.
Yeah, sound selects. Yeah, we nestled that behind the paywall so we don't get obliterated off of Spotify or whatever. But yeah, that was fun. And if you want to hear it, go pay up or cash in that free week or whatever. But
Yep.
yeah, it was a fun episode. I think we're definitely gonna do another one of those down the road. Yeah, I don't know, just one of those things. It's always fun to mess with the format and do something different.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun to do, and it was, getting to kind of share some, stories from our lives and, get to know us a little bit better, which feels like the perfect thing to put on Patreon anyway. So yeah, really there are now, several mini episodes that are exclusively to Patreon. So if you like this show, you really should consider checking it out. Another thing that I wanted to quickly shout out here, and it should be done. It should be like fully up and ready by the time this episode goes out. The show is on YouTube now, which people have asked us to do we've been doing the show for like 2 years somehow, which is crazy. But people have been asking us to put the show on YouTube for a long time. And I haven't done it because, first of all, like it's we play like full songs on the show. So I didn't really know how YouTube was going to play with that. Turns out not super well. But that's okay. And also I knew that it was going to be like a very laborious task to convert all of the episodes to video and like catch up a YouTube feed. And turns out it certainly has been. My computer has just been a little like robot slave making YouTube videos for the past like 72 hours. So, but I'm almost done. I'm almost caught up. The YouTube feed is up. I've made little videos for all of them. And it is listed as like a YouTube podcast. So you can like subscribe to that channel and listen to it on your podcast feed if you want to do that. It is all there and available. I will say the channel is not monetized. So if you do end up if you're listening to this episode on YouTube right now and you want to support us, the best way to do that is Patreon. And we always have links to that in the show notes. And that is also true on YouTube. I will start linking to the YouTube channel on the podcast on other feeds too. So if y'all want to, subscribe to that channel, you can. I'm not going to say that we're like moving to video content or anything. This is very much, still going to be like an audio first podcast, but it's there. If you have wanted to listen to the show on YouTube, you can do that now. So have at it.
Yeah, and we're gonna be I'm gonna be redoing all the episode specific playlists on this YouTube channel to have it all in one place, because that's just the kind of dorks we are, I guess. That I want it all condensed into one YouTube channel. And yeah, we're not, like Seth said, we're not bouncing over to video or whatever. We are probably gonna go back to streaming more games, and I think maybe we should just do that on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, we can.
It would make sense. In fact, we have one coming up. Maybe we're going to be playing an online co-op game together pretty soon. That would make sense to stream that on the YouTube channel. But yeah, it's like just at Bit Harmony Pod or whatever, the YouTube channel. So if you want to check it out, check it out. I didn't know that you could subscribe to it as a podcast on YouTube and it would like push it out to feeds and stuff. That's neat. Technology is sometimes good.
It is kind of neat. Like they have that set up now to where whenever you make a playlist on YouTube, you can just make that a podcast playlist. And you can plug it into like an RSS. And so, yeah, it's kind of neat. Like if you're somebody that has, YouTube Premium or whatever, and you prefer to listen to your podcast that way, knock yourself out. I will say one last note about this. Like I said, that channel is not monetized. So if you do catch ads on that channel, it's not our fault. It's because, again, basically every episode that's been uploaded does have copyrighted stuff in it. And there's just nothing I can do about that. There are also some episodes, blessedly, this has only happened to like 3 of the episodes so far, but some of them are in like limited regions because of copyright stuff. But so because of that, if you don't have something like YouTube Premium, you probably will catch ads on some of them. But again, not monetized by us, nothing that we can do about it. And also that ad revenue does not go to us. So just, worth keeping in mind.
All because of this Christmas that's in the pepper grinder episode for some reason. I'm sure there's a good reason for it, but I don't remember what reason there is.
I think I was talking about the horns in it because I'm obsessed with that little 3-note descending horn thing in this Christmas.
Yeah.
Yep. I love it. I think about it all the time.
Yeah, it's very good. But yeah, like Seth said, the ad revenue doesn't go to us. So yeah, support us on Patreon. I also want to shout out, Seth said that there were several Patreon exclusive episodes. There's like a dozen Patreon exclusive episodes. Yeah. And as Hopple recently said on Blue Sky, we call them minis, but they're still all at least an hour long. We have multiple 1.5 hour long episodes. So we may call them minis, but they're not very mini. I think we'll probably just skip the post-mortem on the previous episode. There's nothing to really talk about. Also, this whole episode is kind of the post-mortem on the best soundtracks of 2025 anyway. We do have a very Sean Capri oriented opening salvo of the episode.
Okay, so we called Sean out specifically on the last episode of the show, and so Sean did go out of his way to leave a review, and it's a long one, so I am going to read Sean's review on Canadian iTunes. The title of which is... Oh, go ahead.
I purposely haven't read this yet because I wanted you to read it off to me while we're live on the show. Yeah.
Okay. So the title of Sean's review here is, "This review is actually an explanation." And Sean says, "Here's the deal. I love this show. It is absolutely excellent. But I don't listen to podcasts on Apple or Spotify. I use Overcast or whatever it's called. So I guess that stopped me from going all the way over to this damn app, looking up this great podcast and figuring out where to leave this gosh darn review. So now that I've gone through all this trouble, which I almost left out the worst part, I first tried to do this on the web version of Apple Podcasts so I could do this at my PC with a keyboard because typing on phones is terrible, only to discover you have to use the app on your phone to leave a review, and God help me with all the typos I've had to correct up until this point. Good Lord. How does anyone even use these stupid things? I hate this. I hate typing literally anything on this stupid screen. Anyway, I did it. 5 stars. You're welcome." Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, you know what? I say that's actually a pretty good explanation for why you hadn't reviewed the show up to this point. I didn't know you had to be on like the app to
yeah, that
review
sucks.
it. That's pretty bad. I mean, I do think the Apple Podcast app is one of the worst apps I've ever used. It's trash. Yeah. It's very, very bad. So I don't blame anyone who hasn't reviewed the show under those circumstances yet.
If Sean can do it, you can too. I think Sean has set a standard. If Sean has an excuse, like you can figure it out too. So
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. If you really love the show, you can just take a little bit of time out and just review it on Spotify or Apple or whatever. But like I said, what I meant was I understand the reason why it is a bit more difficult than I was thinking that it was, because I don't use any kind of like third party app thingy. Maybe I should. Right. Maybe I should become one of the people that doesn't review all of his favorite shows.
Yeah, but just go out of your way. Do I know it can be a pain in the ass if you're doing that. It helps. It is worth it for you to do that if you want to support the show, because it really does help that much. So thank you, Sean, for doing that. We appreciate it. Thank you for succumbing to the peer pressure. We don't have to worry about this stalemate anymore. I also want to quickly shout out, we have 26 reviews now on Spotify, which I think is new. I think that's one more than we had last episode. I think we're at 25. I could be wrong, but just in case, I wanted to shout that out.
Sure. Yeah, just in case. That one anonymous person will their head is nodding right now as they listen to this.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now give us money. You reviewed, now give us money. Yeah, let's continue on the Sean Capri Express. Joot joot to the state of the Nintendo Music Address. Since we had a bit of a break, we've got a Nintendo Music backlog to cover here.
Oh God.
I don't think most of this is going to take too long, frankly, but let's go over what we've had in the past 5 weeks of Nintendo Music drops. We had Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Mario and Luigi Brothership, The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass, WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games, and Tomodachi Life, which dropped just like 12 hours ago or something. We'll start with Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. This was composed by Yoshito Hirano, Saki Haruyama, Naoko Mitome, Atsushi Yoshida, and Kanako Teramae. I'm very tired of there being like 8 people listed for every single thing. So I don't have much to say about this one, so it's a nice one to open up with. I will say the neatest thing about this is that, yeah, this is another one where they dropped the soundtrack alongside the release on the GameCube app of the actual game, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. So that's cool. I always want them to do that where applicable, so I'm not going to complain. I'll just say that I don't find most Fire Emblem music or soundtracks like that interesting. Like, none of it's bad or whatever. I think it's by design. It's not meant to be like super melodic and whatever like other Nintendo franchises are. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't find most of them that memorable or whatever. I will say I've played like 9 hours of Path of Radiance on the GameCube app.
Wow.
And I mean, I like Fire Emblem, but I've never loved it. You know, I see that thing going around of like rate your familiarity or whatever, your connection to Nintendo franchises thing going around, and do like from like 1 to 5 stars or whatever. Yeah, Fire Emblem for me is like a 2, maybe even a 1. You know, I'd probably go so far as say it's probably a 1. I've beaten like 2 of these things. I was just curious. I just love using the GameCube app. I love playing GameCube games on handheld, so whenever they add something, I'm playing at least a little bit of it. And yeah, Path of Radiance is definitely a Fire Emblem game. That's all I can really say about it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you know, the 3DS Fire Emblem games are the ones that I have the most attachment to, and also I'm really actually looking forward to the new one, Fortune's Weave or whatever. I'm quite interested in that. But yeah, like I would be curious to go back to this and check it out. I have not yet. I just have too many other things going on, but I'm glad that it's there, especially since this is one of those like famously prohibitive, you know, prohibitively expensive GameCube games. The big thing for me with this is, yeah, what you already mentioned, which is that they dropped this soundtrack at the same time as the game. I love that. Please, I don't know if anybody from Nintendo listens to this show, probably not. But if by some miracle somebody that has the power does, like, do this all the time. Why the hell couldn't you have done this with Chibi Robo, man?
Yeah,
like,
I don't get it.
That's the kind of thing, like, I want y'all to be doing this all the time. And there's another drop that we'll talk about a little bit later that felt like it was like a, you know, a very well-timed and intentional drop too. And so I you know, the timing of these drops does like significantly improve, you know, my my viewpoint of them, I guess. I think that it is the perfect synergy to have this smartphone app that, you know, like why not capitalize on my interest in these things, you know?
Right. Like why drop the game on NSO and then like 6 months later then you drop the soundtrack to that game? It doesn't make sense.
Right.
When you have the option or whatever. But yeah.
Right.
Don't really have much to say about it as a game or as a soundtrack. But again, yeah, the timing is the most notable thing about it to me. Next up was Mario and Luigi Brothership. This is composed by Hideki Sakamoto. Out of all these, this is by far my favorite soundtrack. It's the one I've listened to the most since they've added it. It's honestly the most I've used the Nintendo Music app in a little bit.
Nice.
It's funny, we talked a lot about Brothership about a year ago in the Monkey Knockout Gas episode, because I was playing through it at the time. I think Brothership is, I don't know, maybe the most underrated recent Nintendo first-party release. I think it got a lot of unwarranted dirt in its eye, I guess. I really, really love the game, and I think the soundtrack is very high quality. Shout out to Club Diode, which I think we probably broke for in the last, or not in the last episode, but in that Monkey Knockout Cast episode. Just a great soundtrack. It's way funkier than you're expecting. A lot of different styles going on. This is a fantastic Nintendo music drop.
Yeah, I was really happy to see this because this is kind of right in that area of, like, we talked about this somewhat recently. Now that we're getting stuff like Thousand Year Door and Princess Peach Showtime and, you know, stuff like this, like, it feels like we're kind of in that sweet spot. Now I'm just waiting on the Mario RPG remake soundtrack to drop. Now that's the last one that you know, complete the trilogy of Mario RPGs from like 2 years ago. But yeah, Brothership is one that I really I need to go back to. I hear that it runs great on Switch 2, so I really want to go back to that.
It's delightful. I think I'd go so far as say it's by far the best game in the Mario and Luigi series, and battle system wise, I think it's like, it maybe is the best Mario RPG battle system. Now, granted, I think Paper Mario 64 is more of like a puzzle order of operations RPG battle system kind of thing. They're kind of different, but we don't need to get super into it. But Brothership rules. Y'all should check out Brothership. If you really like the soundtrack on Nintendo Music, the game is just as high quality. It just has a bit of a slow start, but it's not as bad as other people say. Next up was The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass. This was composed by Kenta Nagata and Toru Minagishi. I played Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks when they were new. I literally don't remember like anything about Phantom Hourglass except that it's a direct sequel to Wind Waker. Like, it's the same era and the same characters and stuff. I remember Linebeck, and I remember that it's fully touchscreen controlled, and I remember the part where you have to close the lid of your DS to put a stamp on your map or whatever on the bottom screen. I think those are literally the only things I remember about.
So I have a fondness for the DS Zelda games because this is like a classic. This happens all the time. I mean, hell, you're talking about with Brothership, like this sort of phenomenon that always happens with games where people really latch on to minor points of friction or things that, you know, are less good or something about a game and really exacerbate that, and like that becomes like people who have never played the game wind up latching onto it too because they've heard these things, and then that just like exponentially grows over time to where that just becomes that game's reputation, you know. And Phantom Hourglass was the big thing with that was you had to like go back, you know, at certain points of the game and progress further up this tower where it was kind of like a like almost like a stealth kind of thing where you were trying to get through the dungeons while like also avoiding this like phantom armor ghost that Zelda's like phantom could possess. And you had to do that at several points during the game, and people found that annoying. I thought it was fine. You know, I thought it was mostly okay. I actually think it's remarkable how well that game controls, considering it's like a completely touchscreen game. And I also think that both Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks have pretty damn good soundtracks. Like, they're not, you know, amazing. These are not, you know, cream of the crop Zelda games or anything like that, but I like them both way more than the internet would have you believe.
Yeah, the interesting thing to me about the DS Zelda games was that if you weren't around back then or you don't remember, the DS and Wii era, Nintendo was definitely experimenting with like kind of casualizing a lot of their franchises. Like, even very beloved series like Mario Galaxy, those games exist because they wanted to make they take the camera control away from you and make it automated so that people could play. That also, you know, wove its way into Mario's verb set is way less interesting in Mario Galaxy and whatever. But yeah, Zelda Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks were both entries in that casualization era, as it were. And to be frank, I think these worked way better than some of Nintendo's other casual experiments did. I even view like Metroid Other M as another one of those where they really wanted to make the controls very casual friendly and whatnot, and then it just felt like kind of a mess. But yeah, Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, I think, were for me at least pretty interesting experiments. Like, yeah, do I think they're top tier Zeldas? No, they're pretty near the bottom of the Zelda games, at least from what I remember, but they were still neat. Like, I'm glad they exist. Also, if you really want like a more traditional Zelda game on the DS, none of y'all played Okamiden, and I really liked Okamiden. So
Okamiden rules.
I don't want to hear it. But yeah, I liked Phantom Hourglass for what it was. I really didn't remember any of the soundtrack when I listened to it a bit the other day. There was a lot of like Wind Waker rearrangements in here, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Again, being a direct sequel to Wind Waker, but I didn't remember that.
It's kind of cute. It's kind of cute though. Like going back and listening to these almost like D-made Wind Waker songs, like that's kind of charming to me.
Yeah. I had a fun time listening to it. Like, oh yeah, they reused this. I didn't remember that, and yeah, I really liked there were like Goron stuff in here. I kind of forgot Gorons didn't even exist in Wind Waker, so they're like a new addition to Phantom Hourglass. So yeah, I think it's cool just to have an excuse to like revisit and like think about this stuff again, because I definitely have not thought about Phantom Hourglass in nearly 20 years, which is also very alarming to think about.
Hate that.
Next up was WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games, composed by Ryoji Yoshitomi and Kyoko Miyamoto. Hey, we did a whole episode on WarioWare not too long ago. Granted, the whole series, not just Mega Micro Games specifically, but we did talk quite a bit about Mega Micro Games, if I remember correctly. I mean, it's one of Seth's favorite games of all time. So I'm not going to harp on this too much, but yeah, this is a cool addition, even though you know, the majority of the soundtrack, each song is only like 5 seconds long. It's still cool that they added it. I appreciate like from like a library perspective, like it's nice that I can just like get in here and like see all of the stuff in here. And this is maybe the time with Nintendo music that I've most appreciated the thumbnail work that they do for everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just getting to scroll through and see like a lot of the thumbnails from a lot of the mini games and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, man, pretty good. And yeah, you know, a lot of the micro games are just a few seconds long, so there's a lot of songs in here that are literally like 3 to 5 seconds. So that makes it kind of like you know, kind of, I don't know, like what's really the point? Like, you're not going to sit here and just like leave that on shuffle and you know, and just listen to that. So, like, for me, what I did is I just went through and just grabbed a bunch of my favorites and added it to my master, you know, favorites playlist. But it's cool that now my master favorites playlist has stuff like Pioro on it and Drifting Away and, you know, was it Four Seasons or whatever, the Cat and Anna song. Like, having that stuff on here is really cool. And yeah, I understand it's GBA, so like this stuff sounds like it was on GBA. But still, I love this game, and this was a welcome addition for me.
A thing I really appreciated about this like batch of the last 5 weeks is that they really covered so many different eras of Nintendo.
Yeah,
I feel like we don't often get that. Like, this covered as far back as the DS era, or no, as far back as the GBA era, and up to the modern Switch era. I think that's really fun. Like, I wish there were more weird swings like that. I mean, I guess at this point, they do have a lot of the no-brainer soundtracks already on here, so I guess they kind of have to start taking these wilder swings. But yeah, you know, I love WarioWare, and it's just nice to have WarioWare stuff on here regardless. Lastly, we had Tomodachi Life. This was composed by Daisuke Matsuoka and Asuka Ito. Yeah, this is obviously done because they just did the Tomodachi Life Living the Dream Direct and gave that game a release date. If you're not aware, we're getting a sequel to Tomodachi Life. And if you're not aware what Tomodachi Life is, this is not the place where I want to take time out to explain Tomodachi Life.
Sure.
It is basically just like a game of goofs. It's like people called it like a life sim back then, and I guess that's not entirely incorrect, but it's way more like, hey, put your Miis in a bunch of crazy situations and laugh about it kind of thing.
I view it as like, you know, when people would have like sea monkeys, you know, like I view it like that, like having like a little, you know, world that you can kind of come into. I want to see what those guys are doing in there, you know, like a little thing that you can look at and poke and prod at and stuff for, you know, whatever, an hour, 2 hours a day. I love Tomodachi Life. I'm excited for the second one, and I gotta say, hearing this music again was way more nostalgic than I thought it would be. My wife and I were listening to this on the drive home from the gym this morning, and she was like, wow, like, yeah, like, I forgot how much time we spent in Tomodachi Life. And I was like, yeah, that game was one of my most played 3DS games. Like, somehow, I think I have like over 200 hours in that stupid game. And my wife too. Like, we really enjoyed listening. I love that this is like the full soundtrack, and I was curious how they were going to solve this problem, because there are like vocalized songs in the game that the Miis sing with that little like text to speech, you know, thing. And I was curious how they were going to handle that, because I was like, you know, because you can customize the voice. Like they're kind of having to decide what the like canon Mii voice is for the soundtrack release, and so that was kind of fun to go back and listen to those. And like my wife and I were singing along like the lyrics to Maybe Baby, like we still know all the words, you know. So yeah, this was fun to go back to.
Yeah, this is just like a fun thing, and again, well timed. Like I think that's fun to put the original up like right after you had a direct covering the sequel and whatever. Also, like a sequel that prior to announcement, I think most people weren't expecting, despite
Absolutely
how well the first game sold. Like, I still don't think anyone was really expecting a new Tomodachi Life. And yeah, I'm with you. Like the soundtrack was way more nostalgic for me too. Even just the main theme, the afternoon on the island, I was like, oh damn, like this really brought me back to like 2013 in a way I wasn't expecting. So yeah, that's cool. Like I did enjoy this more than I was expecting to. Like, it is more enjoyable beyond just being a novelty thing. Like, there actually is substance to the Tomodachi Life soundtrack that's worth listening to, you know, even if you haven't played the game, or game in quotes. Yeah.
Well, and it makes me excited to see what kind of stuff they're going to sneak into Living the Dream, because like I had forgotten about things like Tomodachi Quest, like that little 8-bit RPG they have in there. Like, I forgot about that. I forgot about like the, you know, the love compatibility, you know, stuff. And, you know, when I think back to that game, I mostly just think about the little weird dream sequences and, you know, feeding my wife like a chili pepper and watching her rocket into space or whatever. But like, I forgot that you could take them out on little vacations and stuff like that. And I don't know, like I'm looking forward to seeing what little things they're going to have in the sequel that are going to kind of deepen that, because like we saw in the direct, you know, in that direct, it was basically like, yeah, man, like it's more Tomodachi Life with, you know, more customization and stuff like this, but it basically is the same kind of game. But they did have these little hints at like a little bit more depth, like having this weird like love triangle that had like 4 active participants, you know, like that's more than was certainly possible with the first game. So I'm looking forward to getting that game and kind of, you know, seeing what it has in there, and you know, being surprised at little things like that.
There's like a part of me that's very interested in just seeing, you know, Tomodachi Life, the original, kind of existed in this more like innocent time period, and where I don't know, things going viral and memeability, as the kids call it, like felt more natural. Like Tomodachi Life feels like a game that was successful because of like people talking about it, you know, among other reasons. I think it's a little more complicated than that, but I'm curious to see how a new one does in 2026, where it feels like there's I don't know, calculated virality all the time now, and to see Nintendo like contend with that in the modern era. I'm curious. It's not something I'm like excited for, but yeah, I'm just in a different part of my life now. Also, to me, a big part of the appeal of Tomodachi Life was that it was on a full-on handheld, whereas
Right.
like even the Switch Lite is so much bigger than my 3DS was or whatever. So it's not something I'm probably planning on picking up anytime soon or whatever. But I'm so glad it exists. I'm glad people are happy about it. I know you aren't happy about the current popularity of Hugh Morris, but I enjoyed seeing the fan art. I like that weird random stuff like that still blows up.
It's just such low hanging fruit. It's just like it crosses the line for me of like, I love like weird dumb little things like this, and I do like, to be absolutely clear, I do like that people like him enough to make fan art and stuff. Like I love it anytime something like that happens. But yeah, for me personally, that it was just like a little like, yeah man, let's have like this jester character that we're going to really focus on, and we think we're really clever for calling him Hugh Morris, and like we'll make him the center of this weird like love it was like, I don't know, like it felt a little it felt a little too on the nose for me. Like it was like we're trying to be weird and quirky or whatever. And I don't know, it just didn't it rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like him. I feel like I'm the only one on the planet that does not like Hugh Morris, but I stand by my convictions on that.
I'm Hugh Morris agnostic. I don't feel one way or the other about Hugh Morris. When was nondescript action figure? What was that from? I'm trying to remember. Do you remember the nondescript action figure?
No.
There was direct, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe we're even talking like pre-direct days where it was some Nintendo thing and they had a nondescript action figure and it was like some blue superhero dude. But people really latched on to nondescript action figure. I remember again, I think part of it was just joking, but it was, nondescript action figure for Smash kind of stuff going on. And
sure.
The Hugh Morris thing definitely felt, I like Hugh Morris more than nondescript action figure. Let's leave it at that, I guess.
Fair enough.
When it comes to a grade, I mean, whenever we have a backlog, it's hard to do the stupid grade thing. Hey, I'll give it an A. I don't have any real complaints about it. Maybe like Phantom Hourglass isn't like super listenable nowadays or whatever, but honestly, from my perspective, I think Mario and Luigi Brothership is so strong that that's already elevated it pretty high for me. And then you have the Path of Radiance and Tomodachi Life timings and stuff. I'm just going with an A. I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll co-sign that. Yeah, that sounds good.
I don't know, that whenever we have a big backlog like this, it just feels unfair to the smaller chunks. Like how do you grade it?
How do you approach it? Yeah.
So I'll just I'll reward Nintendo's like decent efforts with an A in this case, but it's just a fun excuse to talk about a bunch of stuff that we otherwise wouldn't talk about. That's all it really is with this segment. With that said, then let's get into the bulk of the episode, which is just going to be us talking. We're going to go on breaks, listen to some music from games we've been playing lately, some 2025 and one 2026 thing. And then we'll talk about them. It's basically going to be like a chiller version of the best soundtracks of the year episode kind of thing. For this first break, then, we're going to go on a break for some Escape from Ever After. This just came out like 2 weeks ago? Not even. It's very, very recent. We'll talk about it after the break, but this is like the game I'm most excited to get in here and talk about for reasons that will probably become clear. For this break, we're going to listen to Another Day, Another Dollar, Construction Site, and Battle Theme Spooky Mix Chapter 2 from Escape from Ever After. These are all composed by Daniel Whitworth, and we will be right back. And that was Another Day, Another Dollar, Construction Site, and Battle Theme Spooky Mix, Chapter 2 from Escape from Ever After. So, Escape from Ever After, this is a Paper Mario-like. Longtime listeners will know that Seth and I are big Paper Mario heads. Like the 6th episode of the show was the Thousand Year Door episode. We pretty extensively talked about the remaster / remake of Thousand Year Door and compared the soundtrack, the redone soundtrack to the original. I still think that's one of my favorite early episodes of the show. And also it's like 3 hours of us talking about Paper Mario, which is one of my favorite video game things to talk about. So I'm always down for any kind of like indie Paper Mario like. However, from my perspective, besides Bug Fables, none of them ever like quite lived up to like my expectations. I've tried a few here and there, and again, besides Bug Fables, they never really, I don't know, they just never quite hit home for me until Escape from Ever After, which I think in some ways I like even more than Bug Fables. The basic conceit, before we talk about the songs, is that you are a character from this book. You're Flint Buckler, is his whole name?
Yeah.
He's a character from like a fairy tale book, and he's normally trying to defeat the dragon Tinder. There is this big corporation called Ever After Inc. that is from the real world, and they've found a way to invade storybooks, or any kind of book, really, and they're kind of taking over and kind of like in various ways destroying the story that they're invading, and then being like, hey, if we've displaced any of you, you can just come work for our company, kind of thing. So Flint and Tinder team up. They team up. They say, hey, let's sabotage Ever After Inc. from the inside. And then Paper Mario stuff happens with turn-based battles, with timing-based prompts going on, and field actions and partner characters. It's exactly what you want out of a Paper Mario. This just has a storybook aesthetic and setup to it. We got code for this, or rather Seth got code for this, and then I've globbed on and I've been playing it because it's a Paper Mario like. And yeah, like I said, this is one of my favorite Paper Mario adjacent things ever. I think the storybook conceit is like so clever, not only because it's very interesting in how they subvert like well-known stories and tropes, but also they make the paper aesthetic actually make sense, which is maybe my biggest complaint about Bug Fables is, why is it paper beyond you just wanted to do it kind of thing. But they actually make it make sense here, and it looks really good. Oh, please take over, otherwise I might gush about this for another 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I love it too. I'm not super far in. I'm only on chapter 2, so I'm not like super far into the game yet. I really want to play more of it because yeah, I'm loving it so far. But I think for me, and you know, you and I are big Bug Fables heads. Like I love Bug Fables. But the thing that I think Escape from Ever After understands about its inspirations, being Paper Mario more so than Bug Fables, is like kind of, not that there's no levity in it, but especially compared to Paper Mario and now this, Bug Fables is downright like dark, like dramatic, you know, like it's quite there's not like a ton of levity or goofiness in Bug Fables. Like every now and then there is, but it's very like committed to its world and its bit. And Escape from Ever After like does that thing that Paper Mario does really well, where it toes the line perfectly of silly, goofy, whimsical, fun, colorful, blah blah blah, but also it's a very like anti-capitalist, you know, sort of story, and you know, this kind of story of displaced fairy tale characters being taken advantage of by a corporation from the quote unquote real world, you know, is really interesting. And like I am super excited to like see where all of this stuff goes, where, you know, like the idea of like a corporation from the real world finding a way to tap into fairy tale stories for like resources and cheap labor and like property acquiring and stuff, like that's a really interesting kind of concept, and like kind of, you know, taking down the corporation from the inside out and stuff. And so like it gives them an opportunity to like take these fairy tales that we're all super familiar with and like, you know, flip them on their head a little bit. And, you know, like your first kind of big party member outside of Tinder is the big bad wolf, who is like a bard. And in this, you know, in this fairy tale, the three little pigs are like working for Ever After Inc. and are like tearing down villages to make room for like their high-rise skyscrapers and stuff like this. And it's just really, really good, man. And like, if I have any like complaint with the game so far, it's that I wish the combat system had a little more like customization to it. Like I wish I could make builds, you know, a little bit better. At least at this stage, it's still early, but like right now, the game basically does take wholesale the sort of badge system from Paper Mario that you know, a lot of these games do. But unlike something like Bug Fables, it doesn't really feel like the badges are like unique enough to really kind of make characters the way you want them. Like in Bug Fables, like Kabu was my tank. Like I had him just so, you know, beefy and stuff like that. I don't really feel like I get that with this game. And in fact, like whenever you level up, you just level up everybody. You don't even like pick where the stats go and stuff. So it's a little bit more streamlined, which I guess for some players it might be that might be a good thing. But that's the only thing that I'm really kind of I'm a little bit let down by. And also it has the same problem that a lot of these games have, which is you know, platforming with 2D characters always kind of sucks. You know, you're gonna fall, you know, you're gonna you know, misstep and stuff like that. But overall, like, yeah, it is, I think, difficult to pull this off as well as they have. Like this and Bug Fables are really the only two that come close to Paper Mario for me, because I've played, you know, stuff like Rainbow Billy and Born of Bread and stuff like this, and it's just not, it just never quite gets it. You know, it just never quite gets there, and this does.
I really, really, really wanted to like Born of Bread. Like that one felt like it came closest, but it still couldn't quite hit the mark. I will say, so I'm about to enter chapter 4. I've been doing a bunch of like side quests, cleanup and stuff. At the point I am, you basically can make full on builds. Part of it's also going to be dictated by like what badges you find and have access to. Also, like every character has unique badges basically that unlock new moves for them, but you also have to have equipped. So it's going to depend on how much like side stuff you do and like what you find. There's even I just found a like a blacksmith in the dungeon of Ever After Inc. that can combine attack up and defense up badges into one badge. So it doesn't take up like 12 slots or whatever. It takes up 9.
That's good
instead.
to know. Yep, that's good to know.
Yeah, the combat system has gotten like better and better as it's gone on. I agree that it's definitely still not like full on Bug Fables levels, but like what is, because Bug Fables is even better battle system wise than any Paper Mario game. But
yeah,
I also want to shout out that like the office humor in the game is very good, because yeah, like Ever After Inc. is your hub world, and it's an office. Like there's a cafeteria, there's HR, there's the IT department, and there's like the main floor where you are. Like most of the sub quests or side quests involve like doing office things, but in this goofball setting. So like Pinocchio wants a birthday party, but he's the office weirdo that everyone hates.
Nobody likes him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get to do a bunch of stuff with that. There's like a post work like quiz team activity you can do.
Yeah.
Which, as someone that worked in offices for like 6 years, it's on the nose, but in the perfect way, because again, it's doing like the Paper Mario thing and making fun of it. A lot of like the phrases that you expect to hear in an office, a lot of people talking about like horoscopes and like that kind of stuff. A lot of people like talking about, oh yeah, we're doing team building exercises and like the frivolity of all that. It's just a bunch of funny well observed humor about like office life through the lens of like fairy tale characters.
Yeah,
Like
well, and
Mother
it's so
Goose is like a
easy.
gossip in that. It's very, very funny.
Yeah, well, and she gets like hyper fixated on like like the lights or whatever,
And then she
and
wants you to turn them off afterwards.
yeah,
I don't know if you've gotten that far, but yeah, that cracked me up. Yeah.
yeah, they'll send like entire emails, you know, and be like, hey, can you like, it's a little dark in here, can you turn on the lights? And then like afterwards, yeah, Mother Goose like follows up and is like, actually turn these off, you know.
She was like, I think the context is like, I read that like we need better lighting, otherwise we're gonna damage our
Right.
eyes. And then she's like, actually, I heard like torchlight isn't good for our eyes. Can you please turn these off?
It's like that, yeah, just that perfect, you know, I think that some people hear something like this and they might think that it goes into like a sort of Shrek zone, you know, with like modernizing fairy tale characters, and it doesn't. Like, it doesn't go that far. It's not like it isn't cloying or dumb about it. Like, it actually makes this stuff make sense, and they strike a really perfect balance.
I'll also say that from chapter 2 onwards, it's less of a focus on like fairy tale specific stuff. Chapter 2
Right.
is a Shadows over Innsmouth riff, but with ducks. And it's like what Shadow over like Innsbeak or something.
Or Innsbeak, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And like you actually do, spoilers, you do fight Cthulhu. Like Cthulhu is summoned and you actually fight Cthulhu in that chapter. And yeah, it's a hell of a lot of fun. It's been my big surprise this early in the year. Like,
Yes.
like I bought Final Fantasy VII Remake on the Switch too, and I've been playing that and enjoying it too. But I've been way more invested in Escape from Ever After, surprisingly. Like, I mean, again, I am the Paper Mario guy. Maybe this only appeals to like millennials. I have no idea, but I think if you like Paper Mario, you owe it to yourself to at least give this a look. Again, I think Bug Fables is overall the better game, but also this game like looks better, like it looks higher budget and nicer. I'll also say I do think the field stuff, like doing stuff with like your partner characters out in the field, is actually like more cleverly designed than even like Paper Mario proper is. A lot of like the Shadow over Innsbeak chapter feels kind of structured similarly to like the Twilight Town chapter in Thousand Year Door, but it's not nearly that annoying. Like, it actually makes clever use of like revisiting the map, but having you revisit it in different ways and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really good, man. And like, even because you started playing it before I did, and you were telling me like, oh no, like this has the sauce, and like I trust you more than just about anybody with your opinion on video games, especially Paper Mario, because I know that our Paper Mario values are very much in line. But for me, like I was even coming into it, I had totally furrowed brows. I'm like, okay, it's gonna be another one of these indie games that just doesn't, you know, quite get it. And no, man, like it gets it. And yeah, this was a total surprise for me. Totally came out of left field. Like, I had heard of it and I was tangentially interested in it, but like to be honest, had they not cold emailed me a code for this, I don't know when I would have gotten around to it. It really is excellent. And yeah, it is the game that I am like the most invested in right now, and like seeing through and continuing on. And it's also like a good length. Like, it's not one of these like, you know, Born of Bread. I really don't want to sit here and drag, you know, Born of Bread or any of these other games, because they're good on their own merits, like good, but not, it's just not the same. You know, that's kind of like a, you know, 8 to 10 kind of hour thing. Nothing too like crazy or in depth. Like, this feels like it is also probably like the length of a Paper Mario game for the most part.
I'm over 15 hours in. I know I have at least one more chapter left, but also there's the classic Paper Mario like 100 floor challenge thing.
Yes.
So like, yeah, I have at least, I would say, 5 to 10 hours left. And yeah, I don't know what like the level cap is. I'm like level 22, I want to say, something like that. I would assume it probably caps at 30. So yeah, I feel like I have quite a ways to go. I guess we should talk a little bit about the soundtrack. I mean, to be fair, I don't have that much to say about the soundtrack. It's just very good. Like it's very, very, very good, like horn oriented soundtrack, which yeah,
Hell
the
yeah.
Horn Boys are back strong right after the break, you know. Specifically with Another Day, Another Dollar, that's like the hub, the main Ever After Inc. office theme, and you're gonna hear it the most because you're going back to the hub pretty often. I mean, yeah, much like the game itself, I just think it's really impressive that this really nails the Paper Mario tone without sounding too explicitly like any specific Paper Mario theme. Like, it wouldn't sound out of place in like Origami King, but also it feels like its own thing while still being what you want to hear out of like a Paper Mario like.
Yeah, well, it feels so. This game's soundtrack is so full and jazzy, and yeah, like this song has such a great little, sax lead melody and stuff. But I really love that this game's soundtrack always makes space for individual instruments to shine. Like there's space for like a xylophone little lead, and there's space for the sax to have like its own solo and stuff. And I really like that, and it also kind of captures that, again, whimsical kind of Paper Mario adjacent. Like this does feel like it could be plucked from a Paper Mario game, and the whole like corporate sort of perspective on the game too. It reminds me a lot of, obviously this is very inspired by like Paper Mario 64 and Thousand Year Door and stuff, but it reminds me a lot of Super Paper Mario in terms of like its tone and stuff like that, which is my personal favorite Paper Mario game. So I'm very like this is just, it checks all of the boxes for me tonally.
There's like a lot beneath the surface,
right?
Even with like Mr. Moon or whatever the your boss's name is in the game, it feels like he also is maybe working alongside you without you knowing. At least that's the feeling I get. I haven't finished the game or anything yet. But yeah, and also the music really captures that. Yeah, it captures like the whimsy of a Paper Mario like, and like going on a fun adventure, but it's also mischievous and getting up to something, but also kind of fits like the 1950s-esque like projection of what office life should feel like to you. If that makes sense. That sentence is kind of complicated, I guess, but it feels like it's projecting lavishness and snazziness, even though it's like not, if that makes sense.
Right.
And yeah, that's just throughout the whole soundtrack. Very, very horn-oriented soundtrack, and it's very good. I don't have too many notes on either Construction Site or the battle theme Spooky Mix Chapter 2. I'll say about Construction Site, this is from the chapter with the big bad wolf and the three little pigs, where things are subverted. Your expectations are subverted a bit. It's just funny that like this song does feel like the music that would play in an anti-union construction site run by capitalist pigs,
Totally.
And again, that's not me commenting on anything. They are literally capitalist pigs. Like that's what they are.
Actual capitalist pigs. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like a very it's very like nasty and oppressive, but it also kind of hits those like jazz swing kind of standards. Like you got your big like tuba leads and stuff, and this was the song that really got me to like stop in my tracks. Like when this came on, I was like, oh, like we're gonna stop and we're gonna I was streaming my first like 5 hours with the game, and I was like, we're gonna stop and like listen to this for a little bit. The breaks that it takes for those little like Spanish guitars like get me every time. Like it's so cool. It just sounds so good, and it almost feels like almost like the sound of the big bad wolf, who is a bard, almost like peering through the kind of oppressive nature of everything else going on. There's this kind of clicky, like almost like a cash register kind of sound in the background. It's great stuff.
It also just makes me think of Tom and Jerry chasing a baby around like steel girders in the sky. Kind of.
Totally. Yep.
And yeah, like, with the battle theme, this is just my favorite battle theme in the game that I've heard so far. It much like Thousand Year Door and Origami King, it does like every chapter has its own unique take on the battle theme. I just love that. That's such a good bit. Like every like big RPG with distinct chapters, I feel like should do this now.
I agree. Yeah, it gives it such a just such a like I don't know, identity to the area that you're in, because
Mm-hmm.
you know, in games like this you're going to be fighting so much of the time. Like that's, you know, at least like 60% of what you're doing in a given chapter. So I think it's pretty important that the battle theme has its own flavor in each chapter. Yeah. With this one, specifically, I wanted to call out at 105, there's a little like xylophone solo that I just love the tone of it. Like it reminds me of like spooky, scary skeletons or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's real good stuff. Just a good spooky battle theme.
Yeah, and again, this is chapter 2, the shadows over Innsbeek, and yeah, you're fighting a lot of like half mutated like ducks that are half transformed into like Lovecraftian things. Again, the game does like perfectly balances out that like this could come across as cloying, but it doesn't. Like it genuinely is funny, but also it is like a little bit horrifying. Also, every chapter that I've played so far really feels like it has multiple direct Paper Mario influences, and this one was like a combination of Twilight Town from Thousand Year Door with the chapter 3 from Paper Mario 64, Tubba Blubba's castle or whatever. Again, I don't want to spoil too much, but there's a direct corollary to Tubba Blubba going on later on in the chapter that I really liked, and I think that's my favorite chapter in Paper Mario 64. So yeah. I'm always pleased when we got any kind of direct or indirect Tubba Blubba reference.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. Tubba, that chapter rules. Like just that, like that fear that you can like feel in these denizens of like being eaten by this thing. Like there's something really particular about that. In our group chat, I don't remember what the context was, but I made a reference to that Walrus and the Carpenter thing. From Alice in Wonderland, like that little bit of Walrus and the Carpenter where the walrus like tricks these cute little like shell people and he like eats them. Like there's something uniquely horrifying to me about that. Like that fear is so primal to me. Like it's so primal for something to be like preying upon you and like knowing that you are at risk of being eaten. Like we're humans, we do not have that fear very often in our day-to-day lives as modern humans, but dude, like something eating you is horrifying.
Yeah, I just largely prefer to not be eaten is how I live my life, how I choose to live my life.
Yeah, like there's not to get super into this, but in Slay the Princess, which is another game that I absolutely love, there's a version of the princess that's called like the Beast, and she's like stalking you and like hunting you, and it is I still think about it. It is like one of the scariest, uniquely terrifying sections I've played in a game. Like there is something to that, man.
Yeah,
so
something about video games, I guess, because you're in control, like where they don't even need to do too much with that to make it scarier than if it was just like a movie, right? Like Tubba Blubba in a movie wouldn't be as scary to me, but because like I'm under threat kind of in a video game form, it works. And yeah, there's a little bit of that here in chapter 2 of Escape from Ever After. It's pretty good. If we have no other notes, then do we want to move on?
Yeah, let's do it. Good game though. Y'all should play Escape from Ever After. It is. I get a feeling that we are going to be talking about this consistently throughout the year.
Yeah, like I said, I'm really blown away how much I like it. And yes, I am biased. I love Paper Mario, but also I'm biased against stuff because it doesn't live up to Paper Mario. So
totally,
when I'm saying this is like this has the sauce, I'm very serious. Escape from Ever After.
It meets a high standard. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, very good, and if you like Paper Mario, you should definitely look into this. Next up, then, we're going to go on a break for some Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo songs. I have not played this yet, but Seth has, and he has picked these songs for us. We've got Old Ratalia Town and Fada Fest Convention from Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo. These were composed by Leonardo, Lima, and Henrique Lorenzi, and we will be back. And that was Old Retalia Town and Fada Fest Convention. Before we talk about the songs, Seth, tell me about Pipistrello.
Yeah, so this is like a so first of all, this is made by Pocket Trap, the Dodgeball Academia devs. And this is, Dodgeball Academia was, I guess, even kind of like a Paper Mario adjacent thing, actually, now that I think about it. But this is more of a send up of like GBA Zelda specifically. Like this is like a Minish Cap kind of adjacent thing. In fact, I'm pretty sure that Minish Cap is directly cited as their main source of inspiration for the game. And you play as this I think he's supposed to be a bat named Pipit, and he has this yo-yo that is possessed by the soul of his aunt. I'll explain in a second. And you basically use that for everything. Use it for traversal around the game's world. The game actually has a pretty large kind of overworld, and you unlock new abilities for it as the game goes on. And so it's got a little bit of like a Metroidvania kind of thing to it, where different areas of the map are accessible to you based on the abilities you get for your yo-yo and blah, blah, blah. It does have kind of a badge system where you can, get new abilities and upgrade them, use them for combat and stuff like that. So, pretty cool. But the story and the setup of this, it's funny talking about this in conversation with Escape from Ever After, because this is also a very like anti-capitalist story that I was actually pretty surprised by for most of it. So Pipit, your main character, is a member of the Pipistrello family, and his aunt, like Pipit, is just kind of like this spoiled like rich kid who doesn't really know what his family does, but he just like uses them as like a bankroll for him to, whatever, laze around and compete in yo-yo tournaments and stuff like this. His aunt, the CEO, is the one who kind of like cares for him and watches him and blah, blah, blah. At the beginning of the game, the aunt is like assassinated by these like barons from other sort of like segments of the town who are sick of being abused by the Pipistrello family, who provides energy to all of the town. So they assassinate his aunt, and they like take all of the mega batteries that the Pipistrellos have like control over. And so, a piece of your aunt's soul goes into the yo-yo, and then the objective of the game becomes, let's go take down these barons, get the mega batteries back, get my aunt's soul back, blah, blah, blah. But what you're kind of like confronted with is, oh, right, like my aunt's not a good person, and we've really hurt this town in major ways, and there's a real reason why these barons, who are also not good people, there's a real reason why they went after my aunt. And it really has this kind of story to tell about like the aunt character kind of, I don't know, like revealing her true colors to her nephew, but also kind of like seeing the world from that kind of perspective, not just top down, and kind of seeing the direct impact that her company and her actions have made on the world around her. And by the end of it, trying to redeem herself in some way, which I thought mostly worked. I really liked this game a lot. I do think that the game overstays its welcome. I do think that it goes on a bit too long. And I also think that like by the end of it, it gets a little stupid, frankly.
Okay.
Like in terms of the story, like just, there's like one big like kind of final twist of the story that kind of doesn't hit. Like it kind of comes out of nowhere, and it doesn't really, it just kind of feels like, okay, I guess we need to wrap this up some kind of way. But like, again, overall, I really enjoyed the game, and I think it works. I think that like it is interesting enough from like a gameplay perspective. One thing that this game does that's really cool is it kind of adopts the Link Between Worlds like item rental system a little bit, which is kind of neat. I've never really seen another game like take full advantage of that, and I always wished that more games would. There you have this like cousin character who winds up, you meet them, they wind up like going into your hideout, like your kind of main base that you're always going into, and she will give you these upgrades that you take out as like a contract, and you will take a disadvantage for using them until your contract is like paid off. So you're picking up money, paying off your contract to then kind of get like the full run of the ability that you've got from her, which is neat. Like it's a neat little mechanic. Like it is just interesting enough to not feel like a, you know, kind of Zelda clone or whatever. Like it feels like its own thing. It has something to say. And yeah, the soundtrack's quite good. There's a track, I didn't pick it for this because it's not my favorite, but there is a guest track by Yoko Shimomura, which is cool in the game. And, you know, like it was good. Like I don't think it would have cracked my top 10, but, you know, it probably would have been in my, like, you know, top 15 or something of last year.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I played the demo for this whenever that came out, and I liked it well enough, but it didn't like blow me away. So I just kind of wrote it off, kind of forgot about it until like all of a sudden end of year, not everyone, but a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, Pipistrello, that was fantastic." I was like, "Really? I don't remember anyone talking about this
Right.
to that level when it came out." So I'm way more interested now. I always liked the look of it. I really like the chunky GBA sprites and whatever. But then, yeah, hearing that there's like an anti-capitalist story going on, but also that goes into the gameplay mechanics of the game with like the rental system and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. I love the rental system in Link Between Worlds, even though in that game it feels like it quickly becomes irrelevant. Like it feels like I pretty quickly was able to start buying the sub weapons full on. I was always wanting them to like revisit that in Zelda, but like make it actually hard, you know? But still a super cool idea. And yeah, hearing the soundtrack, this is really, besides me playing the demo, this is the first time I've really sat down and listened to any of the soundtrack. I was pretty blown away, honestly. Like Old Ratalia Town is probably my pick for song this episode that you should most listen to with headphones. The bass all throughout is so damn good, and it mixes with the chiptune aspects of the song so well. Like I want this like rattling my bones whenever I hear it. It's like weird, spooky bossa nova. It's crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This Pocket Trap is a Brazilian team, and what's really cool about this game, and this was true of Dodgeball Academia as well, like they find a way to kind of give like a real Brazilian like flavor to all of their games. And Pipistrello, you would look at it and not think, oh, this is like a Brazilian game, but yet, you know, a lot of the like restaurants and stores that you go into and stuff like are very, very Brazilian. And, you know, there's a whole section of the game that's like a football, you know, arena. And, you know, it's and yeah, the music is very Brazilian. Yeah. Kind of bossa nova adjacent stuff, especially Old Ratalia Town here. One thing that's also really cool is that this song in particular, this whole like section of the game is this guy, I think his name's like Don Moretti or something. He's this big like buff mouse guy with a big old mustache, and he is getting these citizens of Old Ratalia Town addicted to his like fast food products. Like he has like, you know, cheeseburgers and stuff like that, and he's getting people addicted to it, which is a, you know, thinly veiled, you know, drug addiction thing. And also like, but like this song kind of gives it an underpinning of like, oh, there's clearly something like wrong happening here, but the song is like hopeful and positive in a way that drives home the feeling of like this place is worth kind of like saving or fighting for, you know, which I think is important in this game, because the thing that this game does that I love the most is you never really feel great about what you're doing because of the nature of like, you know, your family are kind of the bad guys, but because the world around you and like this actual like city is also kind of its own character, you push through that feeling because like it does have the feeling that it's worth saving and that these people do deserve better than, your aunts, the Pipistrellos, or these barons are providing for them and taking advantage of them. And yeah, hearing something like this really drives that home, I think. And I think it gives you that push that you need to keep going.
You have kind of done single-handedly a better job of selling me on the game, more than like any like review or anything I've seen. Yeah, I don't have too many notes that we didn't already go over for either of these songs. I will say Fada Fest is probably my favorite song of this episode. Like, I don't know, at 30 seconds in that drop, it almost sounds like a Sonic Mania song or something. That's like the highest compliment I can pay, like a like a sprite-based game like this or whatever. What I'm most upset about is when you and Wilkins both really started talking about Pipistrello. It was like the day after it wasn't on sale anymore on the eShop, and then I was just like, oh, okay.
That was why I got it, because yeah, it was like 30% off or something. I was like, you know what? Like, I've been meaning to play this. Let me just play it, you know. Yeah, that was a bummer, because it would have been nice for you to play it at the same time as us. Yeah, it's just a good game. This song is one of it. I like older Taliton more than this, but only just. Like, it's close. I really do like this song. The context for this in the game is that there is this this borough of the game called like Fadalins or something like that, and it's kind of run down, and kind of like you can tell that the people that live there like kind of hate it, you know. And this character Toxie sets up a big like pop culture convention called the Fadafest convention, and so the people that live there are just excited that anything is happening at all in the town. And so they're like lined up like to get into Fadafest, like all throughout the town. Like, they're blocking, you can't get to certain areas because the line is blocking. And there's this huge like sewer network underneath the town that you have to like navigate to kind of circumvent the fact that there are people lined up everywhere. And then the boss fight of this Toxie, this character who's like running the event, it is kind of this big send up of the Zelda inspirations, because she is kind of like a Navi. She's like this blue, like floating character that floats around and shields this character who's literally named Lincoln, who is basically Link, but it doesn't feel like one of those overt, like annoying, you know, kind of things. Like, all right, here's our Zelda character. Like, it feels appropriate, but it also, like, knowing the inspirations behind the game, you can totally see why they wanted to work a character like this in. And yeah, like the song just has that kind of, you know, chiptune, kawaii, future bass, slightly dubsteppy kind of vibe that you know, that you would think would play at like a pop culture fan convention, like an anime expo, you know, sort of thing. And that's exactly what it is. So yeah, this is one of my favorite sections in the game. Really good.
Yeah, when I was looking for YouTube comments, spoilers, we don't have YouTube comments this episode. There just weren't that many for any of these games we're talking about. A lot of people were very excited to talk about their thoughts on Fada Fest and stuff like that. And yeah, like I said, you've kind of done a better job of selling me on this game than anyone else has.
It's good.
I will check it out at some point, but yeah, now I'm waiting for it to go on sale again and see when it goes on sale, what kind of time I have to work with at that time.
Yeah, I would say, like, grab it on a sale. You know, the game, like I said, it goes a little, I think it does overstay its welcome a little bit. I think it took me like 16 hours or something to get through it. And I didn't 100% it. I got close, but, you know, like, expect to spend sort of 14 to 16 hours in it or something like that. And, you know, it's good though. It is definitely worth playing. And I think if anybody listening is a fan of like top-down 2D Zelda sort of stuff, it's a pretty easy recommend. Another quick thing that I'll shout out that I think is just a really cute detail is that when you boot up the game, it is kind of diegetic in that, like, it shows you this 3D, like, very clearly like a 3D model of like a Game Boy Advance. Basically, they don't call it that because they can't. But it's basically a Game Boy Advance, and it kind of like zooms in on the screen of that, so it like is implying that it's all actually happening inside of this little Game Boy Advance world. And in fact, you can go into the pause menu and you can actually like zoom back out of the screen, and you can even like, you know, turn the Game Boy Advance around and, you know, play with it and stuff. And it's just a cute little touch. It's a thoughtful game.
That's pretty cool. I just like little details like that. That's what elevates a good game to a great game in my eyes. It's just little details and touches of love like that. Yeah. Speaking of great games, let's go on our final break of the episode to talk about. Okay, this first time I say it, I'll say ugh because of the umlaut O. However, I think it's just supposed to be O.
I think it's supposed to be ooh. I think it's just
Yeah, it's spelled umlaut, capital umlaut O, and then lowercase oo, because it looks like the bomb caterpillar character that you play as. So yeah, we'll just call it oo from here on out. But we are going to listen to Area 2 and Area 6 from Oo. This was composed by Tsuyomi, and we'll be right back. And that was Area 2 and Area 6 from Ooh. I don't have too much to say about. I figure in this case we can talk about the songs real quick first before we really get into the game. I don't have too much to say about either of these. I mean, yeah, Ooh is one of those games where it's using a leitmotif and like every song is like a remix of the same song basically. So these are just like two of the songs that you picked or two of the arrangements that were your favorites basically that you picked, which makes sense. I mean, yeah, this is a very, very clever like puzzle platformer game, and this is just supposed to be backdrop music to you kind of thinking on how to solve some pretty devious at times puzzle platform problems, right? With Area 2, I really love how cavey this one sounds. It really, really reminded me of Mario and Luigi's Bowser's Inside Story.
Oh, yeah.
Which makes sense because that's also a game where, you know, Mario and Luigi are mostly inside of Bowser, like exploring inside of his body and like activating different parts and visiting different sections of his body. That's basically what's happening in Ooh also. Like you're a little caterpillar that got eaten by a bird and you're trying to find your way out. I would love to know what it is about like what like music and sound theory thing tells my brain that this is like the sound inside of a thing, of a living being that you're inside of. I didn't think about it. We're talking a lot about being eaten this episode.
Yeah, that's a weird. What is that vor? Is that what that's called when people are like into getting eaten?
I just know it's someone's fetish. I don't know what it's called.
This is the Bit Harmony Vor episode. That is weird that it's come up like that.
Yeah, it's real weird how often it's come up this episode. But yeah, I guess it's just kind of like the echoey effects more than anything, but also
reverberation. Yeah.
And also it's very lighthearted, which again reminds me of Bowser's Inside Story, but it's funny that even removed from the context of a similar setup, it's still just from a music perspective, it does just remind me of Bowser's Inside Story, regardless of the story setup or whatever.
Totally. Yeah, it reminds me, like, this is, I think this is my favorite track in the game. And I think it's because it's the one that, you know, reminds me the most of something you might hear in like Symphony, you know, or something like that. And yeah, again, cave, you know, like it has that very like open, wide, like reverberated kind of sound. Like it feels kind of distant, you know, and twinkly, which I really like. And yeah, this is my favorite kind of application of the game's leitmotif. And yeah, I don't know. I really like it. And I think that it does a good job of like, I mean, really all of the area music does a good job of like giving each area its own sense of identity, but still making it feel like it's part of like the same whole. Like none of these feel that disparate, and they're obviously all connected by this leitmotif, but they still feel like they have their own. I'm like, oh yeah, this is like that bluish area, you know, like I can remember what these areas are from. And I think that is paramount to the design of the game, because the game is really simplistic in like every aspect of it. And I think that like only serves to the game's benefit. Like this is my favorite game that I've played so far this year, and this absolutely would have been in my top 10, maybe even top 5 had I played it last year. Yeah.
So if anyone doesn't know what Ooh is, like I said, it's a puzzle platformer. You're playing as this little caterpillar dude, but he's made out of like chunks, and you can lay down the chunks as a bomb and then activate the bomb to like blow stuff up, basically, whether that's like blow up a block in your path or a wall, or like send you upwards if you can get on top of it or whatever. And then a little bit into the game, like I don't know, halfway through, you unlock a second bomb chunk of yourself, so then you can lay down 2 bombs. It is very simplistic, and yeah, but that said, the way they like design the puzzles around such a simple concept is mind-blowing at times. I took so many screenshots of rooms like after I figured them out, just being like, oh god, I can't believe how clever this is. And I was never stuck on anything for that long. The only part I was stuck on for longer than like I don't know, 3 minutes was pretty early on. I think it's area 3. I'm sure you're probably going to know what I'm talking about. The very long tunnel, the very long drop.
Yes.
I knew that there was something there. I knew that I was supposed to do something with this very long drop. Like you have to place a bomb down in a different room on top of a switch so that this door will remain open for you to go past. You go past this door or gate or whatever, and then you go down. If you drop down this pit, you go like 3 or 4 screens down, and then you end up you can activate a checkpoint down there. And then the next room, it looks like it's impossible to get through. The only thing that looks like you can do anything with is there's a low-hanging ceiling that looks like you can blow, or it looks like you can explode to get through. But you had to get the bomb on your head somehow. Like there's no spot anywhere around to get the bomb on your head for you to blow up the low-hanging ceiling. And I racked my brain for like 5 minutes. I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing? Again, I know it has something to do with this super long tunnel, but I was like, is there a wall going down the shaft that is that I can explode and break or something? No. They intend for you to, again, put the bomb down on the switch, go past the gate. How did the puzzle work exactly? And then you drop the bomb in front of you, then you go back to a fast travel point and then warp beneath it and then let it land on your head, right?
Yes. So yeah, this is like probably my favorite part of the whole, this might have been my favorite like puzzle solution in the whole game, because of that moment where you realize, oh God, like this is what this game is asking me to do right now. You have to, drop a bomb on a switch that makes it possible for you to access this area. And you have to like use it, make it drop down, because the switch is like controlling this bridge basically. So that drops down the tunnel like a trapdoor or something. So you drop one bomb on the trapdoor, you drop another bomb on the switch that releases the trapdoor, and then you have to get to the fast travel point quickly enough to go to the fast travel point that is under the now falling bomb so that it'll land on your head. You'll have just enough time for it to land on your head. And it's such a cool moment of like realizing, because the game has taught you up until that point that, oh, like the world has some persistency to it. Like you can, drop your bomb somewhere, walk away, and wherever you are on the map, explode it from far away. Like it doesn't have to be in the same screen. But it never occurs to you until that moment that, oh, like it's persistent even in motion, and it's persistent even if like I'm traveling to a whole other area of the map. Like you don't even realize that's something you can do until that moment. And it blows the scope of the game wide open. This is a game in which, like, again, you only really have one action. And the amount that they're able to do with just the act of like dropping and exploding bombs is unbelievable. Like it's so clever. And yeah, there are only like 2 puzzles in this game that gave me like a real amount of friction, and that was one of them. Another one that comes way later, was tricky too. But man, like that was the moment. That was definitely my first like early moment of like, oh my God, this game is like incredible, actually.
Yeah, that was the moment where I'm playing something really damn cool. The fact that like they teach to you naturally that the world is persistent, and like you can place a bomb and then fast travel. Okay, but now you have to apply that to like a timing based trial. That was incredible. I think that's not only one of the coolest puzzles in the game, I think that's just one of the coolest like puzzle solutions I've played in a game period in years. It's by the same developer of Head, which I like Head, but it never hit me the way like it did for other people. Whereas Öoo, I think this is an all-timer to me. I think this is a fantastic puzzle game.
The best way that I've heard Öoo described was from I think it's the top-rated Steam review of the game, which is just simply like Nama Takahashi, the developer of this game in Head. Like this is like if he got to make a game for UFO 50. basically.
Yeah.
like that's basically what the game is. You know, like it just has that vibe to it. And yeah, like it was just one of those things. Like I really enjoyed Elekhead, and this is basically the same. Nama Takahashi puts together this small team. Like I forget their name. I'm blanking on their name, but there's a pixel artist that he always works with, and then Tsuyomi, the composer, is the same one from Elekhead. And not to spoil too much, but there's a little bit of a secret that you can, an Elekhead related secret that you can find in the game that Tsuyomi had fun with as well, musically. I'll just kind of leave that at that. But yeah, like I just thought it was like pretty damn near a perfect video game. Like it's just one of those games. Like I just have no real complaints with this, other than the fact that it's not on Switch. This not being on Switch is crazy to me. Y'all gotta get this on Switch. I don't understand. Elekhead was like a shadow drop during like an Indie World presentation. Like, y'all gotta figure this out, and I will rebuy it if it comes out on Switch.
Oh yeah. I haven't finished it. I think I'm near the end. I'm in like the 7th area or something. I haven't had time the past couple of weeks. Yeah. But yeah, I still keep thinking about it because it is like the perfect little video game. Like it's the perfect little, you can beat this in probably like 4 hours kind of thing, but the mechanics are so clever and good. I love, the music is great, the visuals are great despite how simple they are. Yeah, it's like an easy recommend to basically anyone that likes video games of any kind, basically.
Yeah, and like we talked about this a little bit, and you know, it's become a funny bit in our friend group about Animal Well, but like this is this is kind of what I wanted Animal Well to be, which is just this very clever puzzle game that is like making me think and is always satisfying, but is a lot more self-contained and less vague than something like Animal Well. And I liked Animal Well for what it was, but like the sheer scope of what Animal Well asks you to do, like, is crazy, dude. Like, genuinely insane at times. And that is what makes Animal Well cool and interesting, but it's not exactly the kind of like friction I want to deal with a puzzle game like that. You know, like I would way rather play something like this, which has just by definition a limited possibility space, because in Animal Well, there is no limitation to the possibility space. In Animal Well, it is, oh, like, you know, I wonder if I can do this, and you probably can if you can figure out how to make it work. In this, it is, I know the limits of what I can do. How do I make that kind of fit within the situation that I'm facing?
Right.
You know, and because of that, like, it really kind of allows you to look at the problems as like solvable things versus an Animal Well or something where I have to figure out where the margins of the world are and how I can like break outside of them. Because some of the stuff you have to do in Animal Well, I'm like, dude, I don't know how a normal person is supposed to think to do this.
Right. Know? Animal Well has that like Fez thing going on where it was meant to be a communal experience and like talk about it kind of thing. But yeah, I'm with you. For one, I don't have the like time or patience to do that anymore. Like I don't want to go onto forums and like look up esoteric like researching and LRG stuff, or not LRG, ARG stuff. Like it's just it's not what I want to do, even though I think Animal Well is super, super cool. I think it's one of the neatest games I've ever seen. But it's not generally how I want to like sink a lot of time into, or what I want to sink a lot of time into. Whereas like, ooh, I can get this super satisfying side-scrolling puzzle platformer experience that surprises me constantly. Like, especially once you get the second bomb, basically every room surprised me in some way or another, but I also didn't have to spend like 30 hours figuring anything out. You know, it was still like there's something to be said about a game that completely wordlessly just conveys information to you, despite the fact that it's like pretty complicated what it's trying to convey, but you can get it just by doing. Again, Animal Well is very, very impressive, but the only reason I think we keep comparing them is because like this is almost like a minimalist version of Animal Well in some ways, but even beyond that, it's just kind of like a minimalist design period that they're just able to do so much cool stuff with. And yeah,
Right.
that's the only reason it really came up. But
Yeah.
like anything else, it got blown out of proportion.
Of course, yeah, of course. Well, and I relish the opportunity to turn a bit and take anything and turn it into a bit. But yeah, it really just it gives me the feeling that I was looking for from something like Animal Wall. So it just this is like my highest possible recommendation. Like I think the game is tremendous. I guess we didn't really talk about the Area 6 song too much, but I don't really have much to say about it. It just kind of has that like jungly marimba rhythm, flute, sort of vibe to it. And I just really liked it. So wanted to shout it out.
Yeah, this is probably the song I have the least notes on of this whole episode. I really liked it. It gave me some like Donkey Kong Country vibes. It's got like
totally
like jungle tribal sounding stuff going on, but also it's got some like weird offbeatness happening too that also reminds me of some Donkey Kong stuff. But yeah, the whole soundtrack is to this quality. If you like what you've heard here, you should just play the game. Like, I don't even, who cares what the soundtrack is? Play the game, you'll hear the soundtrack as you'll play it. But yeah, Öoo is fantastic. I'd probably agree that I would say Sektori is the best thing I've played this year, but Öoo is really, really special. And yeah, when that comes to Switch, just play it. Just buy it. You don't need to think too hard about it if you like puzzle platformer stuff. With that all said, like I said earlier, no YouTube comments. I found like one that was like mildly funny. Like, this just isn't worth it, so we'll just skip it for now, or the section for now. But we do have one voicemail.
We do. Let's go ahead and play it.
Hey, it's me, Parker again. I'm just wondering if you have plans for the 3-day break. I want to check out the music of Nintendo Switch Sports, if it's okay. And check out the music of Pop Team Epic. If you watch Pop Team Epic, of course. Check out the sketch comedy anime Pop Team Epic. And can you put on the music of Fortnite? Okay, bye.
So, for one, thank you, Parker, for calling in.
Thanks, Parker. Yeah, we haven't heard from Parker in a while.
Well, yeah, the next thing I was about to say was it's good to know that Parker wasn't the person from prison that was trying to call us like a month ago.
Maybe he was. Parker sounded a little more like grown up and hardened maybe in this voicemail.
This is grizzled Parker, punished Parker. I will say, Parker, I don't fully understand what you mean with the final request about asking for. I think you're saying something requesting a song from Fortnite, but I don't know. Yeah. Do you mean like the video game Fortnite, or is there something I'm missing? If you want to call in and clarify, or send an email or something to clarify, we can do that on the next episode. I just wasn't too sure, so I figured since you mentioned Switch Sports, we'll have something Switch Sportsy playing beneath us while we respond to the rest of your voicemail. I also didn't realize it until right now with the timing of when he sent this in. I'm assuming by 3-day break he meant because of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, right? That has to be what the 3-day break was. That
makes sense.
Assuming that's correct, since I live in Germany, that's not a thing over here. Seth, did you do anything with your? I guess you're a podcaster, so I guess you don't really have a 3-day break. In the podcasting space, Martin Luther King Day is not observed, I guess.
Yeah, there are no breaks over here on this train. Well, I mean, I will say, not specifically to the Martin Luther King Jr. Day related break, but like the break over the holiday for me was great. I really like over the holiday break. I didn't do really any podcasts or voiceover or anything for a couple of weeks, and it was spectacular, I gotta say. So I did enjoy that.
Yeah, Bit Harmony's been on a little bit of a break. We had the mini episode in the meantime, but that takes like a fourth of the amount of effort to put one of those out than even in an episode like this. The break was good for me too. Again, that's how I've played a decent chunk of Öoo and Escape from Ever After, and now Sektori. So that was very helpful. It was very rejuvenating in a way I wasn't expecting. I'm also someone that doesn't really think that hard about like my own like well-being and stuff, and now I'm like, oh yeah, we should probably take more breaks from doing this sometime, like somewhat frequently. It's a lot of work putting the show together, and also
Totally.
you know, we'll talk about it probably not till the next episode, I imagine, but like something came up over that break that made me very excited for this show. It has to do with the next episode, which we'll reveal in a little bit. But yeah, the break was good. But yeah, Martin Luther King Day, not observed in Germany or by podcasters, I guess. I will just say, maybe my all-time favorite thing that I ever witnessed online, and I've never gotten to bring this up because there's never a reason for me to bring this up. I think I mentioned in like the early 2000s episode, I was a mod in a fan-made Dragon Ball online game, like kind of an MMO light thing. So I saw a lot of dumb things being said because it was a lot of like 13-year-olds in there. I mean, I myself was like 15. But someone came in on Martin Luther King Day and said, "Happy MLK Day," you know, shortening it to MLK Day, and someone responded with, "What's Milk Day?" and that has stuck with me for over 20 years. I think it's maybe the funniest thing that I've ever been a part of on the internet.
How did you spend your 3-day Milk Day break? That rules. Oh man, I like that they assumed the typo. Like they assumed that it was not an abbreviation of anything, but that they just forgot the I in milk.
Right. Yeah, also, I think MLK was capitalized. Like, it's not like it was all lowercase or anything. But I do like the idea of living in a world where, like, you're off of school and you don't know why, and it's because of Milk Day.
It's because of Milk Day. Also, maybe the whitest thing anybody has ever said.
Yeah,
like...
the fact that you don't know it's Martin Luther King Day, but also that you're confusing it with a made-up Milk Day of all.
That rules, dude. I love that.
Yeah, that's
Hell
like
yeah.
I said, that's like my all-time favorite internet interaction story ever, and it's been buried inside me for 20 years. So I'm glad it got to come out.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. It was all worth it just for that. With that said, if you would like to reach out to BitHarmony, you can do that by emailing us at bitharmonypod@gmail.com, or you can send in a voicemail to 216-230-8540. That number again is 216-230-8540. You can also text that number if you'd like. You can try and reach us if you're in prison, but apparently that doesn't work too well. They won't let you leave a voicemail. And if you're calling in, you should keep those to less than 3 minutes because Google Voice will cut you off. But if you're just emailing us, you can send it as long as you want.
Yeah, you can also, I mean, we don't mention this super often, but Spotify allows you to leave comments on episodes.
Mhm.
So if you listen on Spotify and you want to leave a Spotify comment, we will read that also. And I guess YouTube too.
I was about to say, now that it's on YouTube, I guess we'll have to check those also.
Yeah. So I guess if you want to leave a comment on the YouTube version of the podcast as well, we will see that too. So there are indeed multiple ways of contacting us. You can also join the Discord. We have a community for our kind of like All N Media umbrella. It's an All N community Discord, and I understand it's probably confusing for some people that listen to BitHarmony and not know what All N is, and they join the Discord like, what the hell is this? That's kind of like our blanket kind of umbrella for all this stuff for now. So do feel free to join the Discord. It's free to join. People are nice in there. You can talk to us in there too. So yeah.
There are many, many ways to directly reach out to us. Some might say there are too many ways for you to reach out to us.
I would say that.
But that's just how insane we are, yeah.
That's true. But possibly the best way to reach out to us is supporting us on Patreon. You can support on
what
Patreon.
What a segue that was.
give us money, and you'll be able to reach out to us that way. Support us on Patreon for early access to the show, a bunch of other exclusive podcasts and perks, and all kinds of fun stuff going on over there. And we also do like to end our shows by thanking our patrons. Bit Harmony is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you to our Triforce tier: Adam Caparello, Bowza, Quagmire, Dan and Luma, Daniel Linosa, SAZ, John Cummins, Josh Vaughn, Ligerwoods 330, and Uncle Randy. And thank you to our Golden Banana tier supporters: Big Dogs Only, Bill Tucker, Foolish Fuji, Gamer Jason, Hopple, John 32, Liam D, Old Drake, Phelan Ward, Rob Yapel, Shy Guy, thank you Shy Guy, Sean Ashton, Sparky, and Steven Keller. We really appreciate y'all. Thanks so much for your support over there on Patreon. Like I said, hit the link in the show notes, support on Patreon. There's a 7-day free trial over there if you want to see what all the fuss is about. And there are a ton of exclusive mini episodes over there too. But more importantly than that, you get to like support us and what we do here. So if you like the show, that is the best way to do it. So thanks for giving it a look.
Thank you as always to everyone that supports. Thank you to everyone that listens, and much like Sean Capri leaves reviews. All of it is very much appreciated. Our next episode, which should be going up on the public feed on February 22nd, is going to be on Luminous Arise. Like I said, I think we'll save it until the next episode. There's a very specific reason why
it's going to be on circumstances.
Luminous Arise. Yeah. There's a reason why that timing is happening, and for me, it's personally pretty exciting. But we'll save it for the next episode. Just know Luminous Arise is what we're doing on the next episode. It's back to serious Bit Harmony business. You know, that's going to basically be the follow-up to the Tetris Effect episode, which is one of our longest ever. And I'm expecting maybe not quite that length, since, you know, Luminous doesn't have as much of a history as Tetris does. But I'm fully expecting tears to be shed and revelations to be shared on that episode in a couple weeks. We do not have any haikus. And so I guess, unless I'm forgetting something, I guess we're just going to announce the outro, right?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Our outro this episode, as requested by my wife, is Bubba and Me, the instrumental version from A Cozy Caravan, composed by Xander Holm. We won't spend too much time on it since it's the outro, but Cozy Caravan came out of early access, a couple weeks ago. It's also on Switch. She has been playing it a whole lot. Bubba is like the main NPC character in the game. He's kind of with you on your caravan. He's like the one that's driving around, steering Rigby, the giant bumblebee, around. All he says is Bubba, 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 and your character understands him. She specifically wants to shout out that, for one, she really likes the game and the soundtrack. The soundtrack is very, very good. It's very like lo-fi beats to Study 2 adjacent.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got from this. Yeah.
There are multiple versions of Bubba and Me with lyrics, both English and the made-up language in the game.
Oh, wow.
It's very cute. It's something like, I forget how it went, like Bubba and Little Old Me. Like it's very, very
that
cute, the English language one. But my wife was wanting to say that like this is one of the best. You know, I think we kind of, cozy games have kind of gotten a negative, like association with them, at least for like me lately.
Right.
My wife says this is one of the best cozy games she's played in years. And she specifically wanted to shout out to you, Seth, since she knows you still have to make a video on this game.
Yeah.
It takes a few hours for it to like really open up, but that the scope of the game is like much bigger than you're expecting based on like the opening couple hours. But she wanted to make sure people know, because she really, really likes the game. And, she's the shadow executive producer of the show. So she had to get in her outro
Good to
request
know.
here. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So what I'll probably do then is I'll probably play a few hours, and rather than doing like a first look kind of thing. That actually is genuinely good to know.
Yeah.
Because I haven't played this yet. I did get a code for it, and I've been meaning to play it, but I just haven't had time. It looks great though. I love that kind of like stop motion, like kind of not really stop motion, but that kind of like Spider-Verse-esque, like 24 frame, kind of look that it has going on there. And I like that I can make a little otter. Like, yeah, I'm very into it.
The characters are very cute. My wife made a deer, and it's just like real life animals. It's very, very cute when you can see the whites of their eyes. It's a pretty damn cute video game, and Bubba is a great character. I would say maybe early front runner for character of the year 2026.
Wow.
That Bubba. So again, the outro this episode is Bubba and Me, instrumental version from Cozy Caravan. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time for Luminous Arise. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Boogs, this one's for you. 8 million points. Not that high. Wipe fear from your eyes.